Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Jim Orr and Jerry Taylor, where we'll be speaking to Matt Costello. This is A Celtic State of Mind. Matt Costello, welcome to A Celtic State of Mind. We're here, of course, to talk about Mr. Orr's latest play. You're on something of a run, Jim.
I don't about a run. This is the third one after Benelli Bratback and Benelli Bertie. It's called And If You Know the History, with a wee question mark at the end of it. You need to come and see it, know what the question mark's about. But it's a story of being a Celtic fan in the years before the takeover, before Fergus came in and took over the club. It's seen through the eyes of the Devlin family, 3 generations, mum, Betty, sons at uni, 19-year-old Michael, and our dad Joe, who's coming up for 70, who played by the excellent Matt Costello here. Not that he's coming up for 70, but
no far off.
A method actor. And basically, we can follow the fortunes of Celtic from that sort of 1988 centenary season where everything looks to be good. And we can follow the ups and downs, well, mainly downs, for the next few seasons till we get to the point that Fergus takes over, there's a share issue, and then things start to get better for the club. And I'll try to tell the story using 3 different generations, because what I didn't want to be some sort of love letter to Fergus, because obviously Fergus still divides opinions at times. So you've got Joe, who's born just after the war. He saw my glory. He's exhibition. Joe did. You've seen the Waltons, that's a different story. Joe's seen McGrory, exhibition, Cup, 7-1, Lisbon, Jock, Milan, everything. He saw it all. And he's lived through a time where it was no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, what school do you go to, son? Not that that's in it. That's his backstory, basically. So he's from a generation that you don't criticise Celtic, son. You really don't criticise Celtic. If you criticise Celtic, you're one of them. So he's behind the Kellys and the Whites. So no matter what they do, Joe's behind them. Opposite end of the scale, you've got young Michael, he's 19, he's buying Not the View. He's finding all this stuff out about what's going on behind the scenes, that we've got no money over the river. They've got this brand new spanking stadium, Murray's spending a fortune. Why are we not doing this? Things are bad, things are all right. And Betty's in the middle of this, and she's lived through a part of the time that you've lived through, so but things are better, and she sees things getting better. But as the years go on, she starts to side with Michael, because things are, come on, Dad, you must see this.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Come on, no. Okay. So we'll give you a chance to see 3 different views, because the first idea I had was speaking to somebody who did a terrible impersonation of Fergus, and I thought, he sounds like Groucho Marx. I could make Groucho Marx with Fergus.
Yeah.
How funny would that be?
That would be typical Jim Orr. That would be peak Jim Orr.
And the glasses and the cigar, and he's talking to George Cadet and Michael Kelly.
Yeah.
If that's like a one-joke play, it doesn't go very far. So I thought, I didn't want to have Michael Kelly in it or Brian Dempsey in it or more. I wanted, just for telling a story from a family's point of view, Celtic diehards, 3 different generations. In terms of the cast, Betty is played by Alison Noah, no relation, well, she has a relation with my sister. So she plays Betty. Son Michael is played by a really talented young actor called Kyle Gardner, who's in Ur Willie in Dundee. This Christmas, he plays the main part of Ur Willie. And then there's the fantastic Matt Costello, who plays Joe, who's her dad. And so it's their 3 points of view. You might wonder why Jerry Taylor's sitting here, because there's all these things happening behind the scenes, how much of that drips down to most fans? Not very much. So Jerry plays a character called Tam, who befriends the Devlins. And Tam's a fictitious character, as are the Devlins, but Tam's a fictitious character, but he knows Brian Dempsey, he knows David Lowe, he knows the board, he knows what's happening. So occasionally he'll drop by the Devlins and they'll say, what's happening? So all the kind of, and you'll know this, as Bertie would say, you'll know this better than me, son. All the kind of key points in that 7 years, it's quite a long time, 7 years to cover, because we did Benelli Bratby, that was a season. We do Benelli Bertie, that's 4 months. This is like 7 years, and you know what happened over the 7 years. There's tons of stuff to try and cram into that. So you have to watch what you pick. But I think most of the kind of touchstones are in there. Mo Johnson and the night that Brian Dempsey gets kicked off the board type of thing. So Tam visits the Devlins. I can day I've just been at a meeting, so he tells him, what's been happening with
I'm doing it exactly like that.
Exactly like that.
Just like that.
So, and Joe argued, oh, you're talking, son, not letting he's explaining, no, this one, David Lowe, he's behind, he's getting share, and so that's how the thing develops. And as I was just chatting there, I'm thinking that the actual name Betty Devlin, does that ring any bells?
Well, there was an old shareholder, wasn't there? Don Devlin was the...
Well done.
Yes.
Well done. I thought you on the spot when I thought of that. Which was the plan at the start? See you guys. Because at the start, basically, was, as we call it, the Devlins, because and I've got a late aunt whose name was Betty Devlin.
Yeah. And
that's where it came from. So you kind of picture, here's the story, this is what's going to happen, and you write the kind of story, and then you do all the research then to pick up the nuances and all the wee bits and pieces of it, refreshing my memory, because like, maybe not Jerry, the three of us lived through that, so you've got a good memory of it. And I was involved in the supporters campaign back then, so I met some of the kind of key players within this. But we do the research again, and then you're looking at the share register, and you thought, oh, Betty Devlin. Because Betty Devlin was Tom Devlin's wife, and a lot of Celtic fans will not know who Tom Devlin is, because Tom Devlin came between, you had Sir Robert Kelly, the chairman for a number of years, into the 70s, dies, Desmond White takes over into the 80s, and then Tom Devlin was the chairman for about a year, and then he sadly died, and John McGinn took over. So a lot of Celtic fans will not know who Tom Devlin is.
No.
And when, without giving too much away, but the story of that period is that one of the ideas that what was called the Rebel Consortium had was trying to hoover up shares from shareholders who were disenfranchised with the board. And the plan was to, if we can get more than 50% here, we can take over the club.
Was that David Lowe's brainchild, I think? Eh?
Smart guy, David Lowe. So I think there's a number of people working in concert, Brian Dempsey, David Lowe, a few other people. And David Lowe's travelling the world trying to get a few shares here, a few shares there, to try and get more than 50%. They never get more than 40%, unfortunately. But the more shares you have, you can't annoy the board. You can go to meetings and AGMs, you can call for AGMs and make it difficult. And they got about 40%. And 10% of that 40% was Betty Devlin.
Right.
But it's a fictitious Betty Devlin, made up by me because it's my aunt's name. So played by my sister, who gets to, my mother's name is Betty, so she gets to play somebody with my mother's name on it. So that's the story of the play. There's a wee question mark at the end of the title, and definitely a question mark, because we take some kind of artistic liberties with.
You've got in the very best form of Jim, or the way Jim does it.
It's a kind of madcap comedy, and if you've seen Bratback and you've seen Bertie, you'll kind of know some kind of. I talk about the F word, and Joe uses the F word quite a lot in the play. That's this term.
I guess it's great.
And
it's going to be hard, that.
I know. But the plays about so far, F features a lot because it's about football, obviously. So, and it's factual because you actually, for Bratback, you're telling the factual story of how we managed to stop the 10 through the eyes of a family. Starting with F again, the same with Bertie, you're telling the football story of 65 through a family, and a fictional family, another F in it. But it's a bit of fantasy in Bratback, as you've seen it. There's a bit of fantasy in Bertie, and there's a big bit of fantasy in this, and that's the question mark. So I can't say too much about that because that's a spoiler if I was to say that. But that's something to do with the character Jerry plays.
Why did you pick the guy with the biggest gob in the industry to play the most secretive role? It's killing me.
Well, I don't know. After the chat we had earlier, maybe Matt's got more to say about some stuff. So.
Well, I was going to ask you, Matt, because when you were describing the family dynamic there, I would be the young kid reading Not the View. I
How
did.
old were you then? 88? How old were you?
88. I'd have been 88. I'd have been 10 when we won the centenary season. Yep. And then from there, I'm reading the fanzines pretty early doors and learning about what was going on, because they were ahead of the curve. The Not the View guys were ahead of the curve. They knew what was going on. What about yourself, Matt? What was your kind of memories of the darker elements of the 1990s for Celtic?
1990s, I was just into drama and acting for most of the 90s, learning a lot about what the business entails and
so was Celtic,
where to go. So I kind of drifted a bit and then came back, but it was like my career was taking the forefront for me, but I have to say that I remember with the Fergus McCann thing that I felt positive about Fergus McCann. I know everybody was cut down the middle with the guy, but I never felt boo Fergus McCann, because I was seeing Celtic being saved, developed to what we have now. I think kind of attributes to what he did then. So I don't feel it as, I know it was dark for the real Celtic aficionados, but for me it was a case of, yeah, we'll get out of this. This is going to be fine. We'll get out of this. At least we never collapsed and became a nuclear or anything like that.
No, that's true.
Am I allowed to say that?
You absolutely can.
Yes.
You absolutely can. Curry, you were focusing on your career. We definitely need to, tap into some of the elements. Jim said earlier on that you knew the Waltons. Now, we need to speak about this.
I did.
This story of your introduction to the world of acting and film is sensational. You're over in the States as what, 17, 18-year-old?
18. I went when I was 18 and worked in, got a job in the Burbank Studios. It was probably my first acting thing. However, it was a guy that got me. It was a key grip called John D. Engler, lovely man. In all the Paul Newman films, he's a key grip, and he's long gone now, but he got me in the back door. And before I knew it, I was called Scotty, and my supervisor used to be flatmates with Mickey Dolenz at the Monkeys. And I'm like, oh wow, so I had watched the Waltons, I'd watched Wonder Woman, and all of a sudden I'm building a set that's to be up for 4 years for Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. And I've got Mickey Dolenz, his best mate, working with me too, and I didn't have a clue. I said, can you do woodwork? Are you a carpenter, a joiner? A joiner, what's that? It's carpenter. He said, aye, and I was no bad at school. A wee bit I was rubbish at all my subjects, but I could do a wee bit of woodwork. And I went, aye, that's me. And so next minute I'm building elevator doors and corridor walls for Wonder Woman. And to this day, I've never seen Linda Carter coming out of an elevator, because I'm like, that's the one I built, that's the one I made. But and I met Linda Carter, John D. Englert brought her around, shook her hand, and then had a wonderful experience in there. It made me think, what is this Hollywood thing? All of a sudden, I'm in it. Mm-hmm. I was born in Govan. Next minute, I'm in Hollywood. And I went down to the Walton set in World Gear. One of the first people I met as well said to me, oh, you're from Scotland? I was in Glasgow in the 50s and all that. He was a real socialist guy, and friends with Woody Guthrie, and just real kind of brilliant man. And he's like, aye, it's down there, the lot. And so I went down, Elizabeth's on the seesaw, and she asked me to play on the seesaw. And then the next minute she says, are you from Scotland? Aye, let's go into the studio to see the scenes getting shot. So before I know it, within an hour, I'm in the Waltons' living room watching all the Waltons eating their dinner. And I'm standing there with my nail belt and my hammer going, oh, right, I could do this. I think I could do this. And that's where the acting seed was sown, So I wonder if any of them would have been Celtic fans.
The Waltons.
Aye, one of them, two of them anyway.
All of them. Good night, Paul John Boy.
John Boy. This is fact before the show, you say I was speaking to the Waltons.
The Waltons, and it was 77, so that was John Boy Walton left this is for people that know the Waltons, but he left in 76, so he wasn't there. 77, it was Will Gear, Ralph Waite, Michael Leonard, Cammy Collar, Ben. I mean, I did a press-up competition because I used to have a bit of shoulders on me. No end there. We did a press-up competition with the two of the boys, Ben. And he was doing one of them press-ups and all that, and I'm like, no, mate, I'm forgiven, forget that, and I smoke. But then we went down and did back to the Wonder Woman, and then 38 years later, my agent phones me and says, Matt, there's a film, it's a superhero film, but we can't tell you, it's only a couple of lines, and I was like, what is it? So I found out 2 weeks later, it was Wonder Woman 1984, and I went, that has to be done. That really is a circle. 38 years later. So I went and I started looking at Gal Gadot going, I knew when you were in the 70s, Linda Carter. But it was an amazing experience. It was just one of the most perfect circles that has happened to me in my career to go, if they would have asked me to do it for nothing, I would have done it, you know. But 50 quid was too much to know.
Matt, you have a long and illustrious career on the stage, TV, film, but you're at a stage of your life now where people will recognise you for one particular part that you've played. We're all fans, but we've got a super fan here, a Still Game fan.
I'm a super fan. I was in Still Game as well, by the way. I was in one episode, Smoking the Water. You know the one where they go down the Kelvin?
Yes.
I'm one of the Neds that chase after them, right?
Oh, brilliant.
I get slagged off all the time. We'll come into you. But
you ever been in it? I've never been in it.
Right. My Still Game career, right, obviously glittered. But when they run up to the edge of the water, Michael Hines, the director, was like, just look angry and all that. And I do something and I get ripped to shreds for this with my mate. So I do this. Right? Who does that? Right, but that's my one thing, is Still Game. So I do that. But even being around, like, the cast, they were amazing. And just to be that one tiny part, I don't say anything, but I just can be seen. For me, it's a true honour, because for me, Still Game, there's nothing recent comedy, there's nothing that
That's lovely, yeah.
Nothing whatsoever.
Really nice.
But you have become like a cult figure, a legend of Still Game. So what I want to know, right, there's two bits for me that really stand out from, and what I've seen in the documentary, one of the biggest laughs, or the biggest laugh they ever got, was Winston's iconic line, gonna cut off your balls and come back as your sister.
Yes.
Because they had to, in the edit, they had to chop that laugh right out, because they laughed apparently for about 15 minutes after that.
Yeah.
Involved in that one. And the other huge scene that everyone remembers is putting the pens
God,
through the thing. The Bookie pens. It was great.
You picked the two that when we were doing the shows last year, and Evening Whiffs, you know, the big questions were, for my character, was the pens and what are you going to do now, cut your balls off and come back as your sister, which has been said a few times. I love it, it's great, but it's respectfully shouted at me. You know, which was quite good.
You're part of that, and what I want to know is, like, how did it all come about for Still Game? Because you see your part growing and growing through every season. Yeah,
we did, talking about Michael, he was doing a kids show called Mr. Why Me, WYMI kids show, and he asked me to be a leprechaun in it.
As you do.
With the most beautiful leprechaun costume I've ever. We were filming at the Campsies. Right. I was to be thumbing a lift for, you know, the guy in the series, and I was dressed in a beautiful costume, so beautiful, velvet, and the big buckle and the big hat.
You still have it?
I wasn't to buy it. Oh, you would have been.
You could get away with it.
You get in for nothing. And I was thumbing a lift, and then a wee car was coming along the road with this old man and woman in it, and they were like that. What? Slowed right down. Can I help you? And I was like, they must have been like, oh, it's a leprechaun in the middle of nowhere. There was no cars, nothing there. And I says, no, we're filming, the cameras are there behind the tree there, the bush. Oh, I'm so sorry, by the way, right, okay, thank you, bye-bye. But it was really funny. But that was, Michael asked me to audition for that the year before. I don't know what the time scale was, but he asked me to be in that. I got that part, and it was lovely. And then before he knew it, he phoned me, Matt, how you doing? We'll get you in for this programme called Still Game. And I was like, Still Game? Because I'd done a few pilots for comedy series, and it didn't really take off. And I was like, Still Game? That'll never work. That's not going to work. But I'll go and see about it anyway and see what happens. So it's one of the ones. When I hadn't read any of the script, and I went to speak to him, and he was talking to me about his plans, and I went, right, aye, I'm in. And before I knew it, I was cast as Stevie the Bookie, and it all changed from there, because every day in my life, people's told me, and again, have to say, they show the love. There's never any hassle from anybody. They're all so nice to me, which is a testament to how much they love the show, you know, because I never get anything bad said to me. It's really good, and that's great when you've got two sons beside you, you know, and giving it. Yeah, well, you know, so...
Once you do this play, it'll change completely once this play's done.
I'll take, I know, aye.
No, but it used to be good back then.
From that, I did, what's it, maybe about 8 years or something in Only an Excuse.
Mm-hmm.
And wee Johnny, who's from the other side of the tune, always gave me the Rangers
All
stuff.
right.
And I remember he gave me Seabo. Do you remember him? Remember Seabo? He's Paul Le Guin was the manager, and he was going, what I want you to do, I want you will run that way. And you go, no. And I go, okay, and I run that way. So right out of shot. But he used to give me all these lovely Rangers taps, and I'm like, I'm wearing a Celtic tap underneath, Celtic t-shirt underneath it. But it was just because he knew I was a Celtic man that he would give me the Rangers, you know. I was always a Rangers. I think I did a wee red book one with him as well. But so from that, I think a few people were on the fence about where Stevie the Bookie's allegiance lies, you know. Yeah. And I think this is clarifying it today, folks, that I have been a lifelong Celtic fan. It's just a family thing. So that's the way it is.
Matt, where is the strangest or the most unexpected place that you've heard Feel the Burn or something along those lines?
Yeah, well, there was a few. I was in the States last year, I went to New York, and honestly, checked into the hotel, my wife, my boys, we need water, we need to get water. And we went out to the shop, and as soon as we walked into the shop, there was 4 Irish guys, all dressed in suits and shirts and ties, and as soon as I walked in, I was like, right, boys, what do you want? Steve! Steve! And I went, no way! If you're watching, you need to phone in Paul. But anyway, it was amazing, because I was in New York for about 5 minutes in my hotel, out the door, because we needed to get water for the fridge, and that was that. Then top of the Empire State Building, then top of the...
That was
wall.
Jim trying to get you signed to contract.
Matt, do you want to do this play?
So, see when people look at you, you automatically thinking they're going to say this.
Yeah, I notice that every time. I try not to be too facetious about it, because there was one taxi driver many years ago, I've not done it since, he looked in the mirror, he's driving, looked in the mirror, it's like, I know your face, mate. What do you drink in this pub? And I went, no. What school did you go to? It's Andy's and St Gerard's and Govan. But anyway, what is it? You been it? I said, well, all the football teams, all the pubs in Glasgow went round in 10 minutes. I was like, shut up. And he went, sorry. I says, listen, mate, you might know me for the telly. I'm in a programme called Still Game. I don't watch your telly, mate. I don't watch. I thought, I've just danced with you for 10 minutes, try to be nice, and you don't. What is it? It's like, I'm never seeing that again. So from to this day, I've never went, well, you might know me from television. It happened yesterday. I heard an American lassie come up. She was incredible. She says, sorry, I need to speak to you. I went to Florida there 4 weeks ago. She went, we were sitting behind you, 3 seats behind you on the flight to New York, then down to Florida, and then I come back here, I'm at the Edinburgh Festival, and I'm phoning my parents going, he's here, he's sitting beside us. Well, I say hello, and she did, thankfully. So we got photos with her and all that. It was brilliant, you know.
He's here.
He's here.
Elvis with that, right? When you've spoken about how you got into the industry, and you're a normal guy, right?
Absolutely,
At what point does that become normalised, though, right? Because I was just randomly in Edinburgh at a Fringe show, and you were in front of me in the queue, and you didn't get a minute. People coming up, their selfies, and they're talking to you and shake your hand and everything. Is it still quite unusual? When do you get used to that kind of adulation?
That is a brilliant question, because...
I gave him that question.
Honestly, that is a cracker, because when I was training to be an actor, I would have dreamt to that, right? That's where I want to be famous, I want to be rich. And then you realise through the years that acting is a job. It's just a job.
It's what?
And if you can do something that people believe, and you've been honest and truthful in the role, and they attach something to it, you owe them something. Do you know what I mean? So when they talk to me, I give them they give me full respect, because it's one of the things that it just becomes normal people, like all the Celtic fans, the Celtic family. It's just normal. There's no airs or graces. We just are who we are, and that's the way I am as a person. I was born in Govan, brought up in Pollock, I mean, I'm no airs of graces. I'm, you see me, what I'm. That's it. There's no hiding any.
Yeah.
But you must find that yourself now. You must find that yourself now through the podcast.
And you're quite famous yourself.
Very famous.
Well, you sort of come and talk about Celtic, which is great. And that's the thing, Jim. When I remember when we set it up on a daily basis, people said, every day, you're going to talk about Celtic every day for an hour. And I always responded, well, we do anyway, don't we? Like, if I meet Jerry, we'll talk about Celtic. If I meet you, we'll talk about... So it's a natural thing. Everybody just wants to come up. And the thing is, it's funny, they think you've got inside info. Who we signing? Come on, tell us. I get that. No idea.
I'm like, they would never tell me. Honestly, he's like Rain Man when it comes to Celtic, honestly. Like,
the data,
you could talk. I even sent you a message the other night going, you probably even dream. The 4 hours you sleep, for 4 hours, you're probably dreaming about Celtic at that point as well. So
I Celtic every day, every single day. But
love it,
Jim,
what we do?
Jim's got a different take on it, I think, because he's very more. I'm still kind of fanboy, whereas Jim's very realistic when it comes to football and finance and all that kind of stuff.
I think we live in that time where, if we're talking about Celtic now, I think it's about knowing where you are in the football food chain. People getting annoyed at selling Matt O'Reilly. Well, he's going to go. He's going to go because it's the best time to sell him. If you're Matt O'Reilly, you're going to go. If Matt O'Reilly was your boy, you'd be saying, "You go, son."
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes people don't want to hear it though, Jim.
I know. But it's Ange. When Ange, the rumours about Ange going to believe it, he said, no, and then you think,
that's why you have to go. That's why you have to take the whole thing back. You said earlier, what you do is a job. If people don't realise that's a job, they're thinking,
you're right.
You're
rich and famous.
You mean Linda Carter?
Yeah.
Elizabeth for the Waltons, you're thinking fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas football's just a job, and that's the thing. We've got a number of young players about to leave. If you're their father and you're saying, you need to go.
Did anyone break your heart? Did any did Dalglish break your heart when he left? Or
I think you were younger then. I think you saw it being older and actually thinking, well, this is because the phrase I've used in the podcast a few times, used a number of phrases, is that I still love football, but I hate what football has become. I hate what it's become. I hate everything that goes with it, because what you've now got, you'll never get another Charlie Nicholas or Paul McStay. Because once you get to that age, 18, you're saying to somebody like Daniel Kelly, you're saying, well, look, son, either you could be a millionaire tomorrow, or stay here for a while, and we'll see what happens next. There's no choice.
That's true.
You're a millionaire tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're never going to develop that. I know this is a bigger subject when we go for the podcast. And what's the point of having a youth academy? I don't think that's the point of having a youth academy. And anyways, that's my kind of. I think as you get older, you become a bit more common sense. You've seen it, you know how it happens. Whereas if you're a 19-year-old kid and you're thinking, don't sell Matt O'Reilly, he's going to go. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Rumours this morning about the main man Kyogo might be going.
Oh, and I'm not ready. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Kyogo might be going to Man City.
Man City. Jim, I'm going to ask you a question, right? And then I'm going to ask Matt something I always ask actors or anyone in that industry. The first question I'm going to ask you, Jim, is when you're looking to fill a part, I know that you've worked with some great actors. We spoke in the early days to Laurie Ventry, for example, who came and spoke to us.
Oh, lovely man.
Away.
Great actor. Great actor, brilliant
tremendous,
man.
Isn't he? He's phenomenal.
Funny.
Brilliant.
Aye, top level. What do you look for?
That's the standard. Right.
I'll never get to Laurie's. Laurie's just so clever.
Maybe the two is together could match.
We match. Aye, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean that.
No pressure, but that's a standard.
But Jim, what are you looking for when you've got an idea and you've got characters in a show? How do you think Matt Costello's the man for this part?
I do want to work with Matt for a wee while. The first play that I wrote was called Bend the Like Baxter. It was a rehearsed reading, and an actor called Jimmy Chisholm, another brilliant actor. And because I've never done a play before, I left it to Jimmy to sort of cast it, and I brought Matt in, and I'm thinking, Stevie Bookie, I think this is in my wee daft play, and everyone took it. They were dead serious, and that's a bit I kind of got that they were recognisable faces. First play I've written, and they're taking it serious, and they're asking questions, and there was actually the kind of highlight of the whole thing was in Benedict Baxter. It's a guy just after the funeral of his best mate, and he's reminiscing about the time they went to Wembley. They always went to Wembley type thing, and it finishes with him talking about it's after the funeral, and he's got a wee bit of the grass from Wembley, and a wee thing, and we're doing the rehearsal, and Michelle Gallagher, the girl that was saying, well, he just lost his best pal. Should he not be more upset about this? And I said, well, in actual fact, I'd written about 3 pages of this, been upset, but I took it all out. And she said, you better put that back in. So then the second day of the rehearsal, I came along and said, there's the new pages for this. And after the actor started reading it, she said, no, it's too much, that's too much. It's too sad. And Ryan Fletcher said, but it's beautifully written. And that's the first time I felt, all right.
Yeah, no, it's going to be
written.
true, honest.
Is that when you realised you were actually a writer, Jim?
No, I'm still looking
So you
for
still
that, find that out.
I know.
But Matt was along, and Matt was brilliant, and that's when, and then I'd written a play called Bend Like Bobby about Newcastle United winning the First Cities Cup, and I contacted Matt straight away because I staged it last year on one night rehearsed reading, and nobody will see it again, so I don't mind giving away the plot. So basically, there's a guardian angel comes back, and all through the play this guardian angel comes back and forward, and then at the end you find out the guardian angel is
what?
Hughie Gallagher.
Aye. When Carl went, aye.
Ben like Bobby's Bobby Moncur.
Right.
Hughie Gallagher was just kind of tragic.
Absolutely.
Football he played, he was one of the original
What a story.
Wembley Wizards.
Oh, the Hughie Gallagher.
Late 20s.
No, right.
And I just thought he'd be a brilliant Hughie Gallagher. And you read it and thought it was really good and wanted to do it.
Lump in the throat and stuff.
And you were greeting. And in fact, you know what I say, you went to a Q&A one night and you were saying, and they were saying, what's next for you, Stevie? And you said, well, I'm doing something called Ben Like Bobby.
I know, I did, aye. And then things take a turn.
And then
Hollywood phones again.
And then
Catherine Zeta-Jones phones you.
Aye,
That's it.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
to the wall. Such a great open line. So how do you do that? I wanted to work with Matt again, and although he's younger than the character, you can play 70, and we've got one scene where you hear Fergus's voice, never actually appears, and Matt will do that as well. So that's that. So and then Mr. Taylor here was a standby, what do you call it?
Well, I was first off, Alison, I came and watched Benderley Bratback, and I remember going, I wanted to be in that. Mm-hmm. And then they got in touch saying like Benderley Bertie, but I was away doing Singing I'm Not a Billy, He's a Tim at the time.
Right.
And I came and I was the understudy. And I remember being at the pavilion, I was at the pavilion just going, I want to be in that. So obviously I've been hounding them, and then it came to the third one, this one, and I'm finally in it. So it's been like a natural progression, hasn't it?
We're doing understudy, and we were chatting quite a lot. I think I picked you up from the station back forward sort of thing, and I'd said that this is the next one. And at that point the working title was Ben Like the Bunnet at that point in time. But again, what I didn't want to do is have to do things like this where you're saying, oh, it's not about Fergus McCann. But if you call it Ben Like the Bunnet, people automatically think that's what it's about.
Fergus.
So we did Ben Like Bertie, and Ben Like Bertie at the start wasn't about the Bertie Hall story, because the Trolley Burn story came out a few months afterwards, and then we brought it back. So that's a Bertie Hall story. And he said, well, it's not really. It's basically, we were on Acsom, Des and I were doing it, and I said, well, what I describe it as is, if there's a new James Bond film on, Bertie Hall was in it. It's like 001030. He's a character in the play. But then what happened was that we did it at Webster's as a rehearsed reading, and then Bertie sadly passed away. And the feedback from that show was basically that Des only did one Q&A at the start. He goes back and forth and do all these Q&As, the football memories kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We only had one at the start, and he answers about 5 questions, and that was that bit finished. And they said, oh, I love Bertie. So then I then rewrote it to then have, he's coming back and forward to football memories. So he's not telling you where he went, he goes somewhere and then he comes back to football memories. And then that became more, and then actually told the story of Bertie's career through his Q&As.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I was sitting in the pavilion watching that. To my right was Tom Boyd and Murdo MacLeod and all that. And I'm sitting here going, I used to come and watch you guys, and it was like when we played the Hydro for Still Game way back, Celtic team came backstage, about 7 of them, and they all knew me, and I'm like, this is me, right? This is warped. How you do? I mean, it's like my heroes are right in front of me saying how good the show was, etc. It's like what I was saying about real people down here. Keep it real.
Yes.
I told you a story earlier about Saltcoats, Bobby Lennox, quick one. My family used to go down to Saltcoats for our holidays, and we knew that Bobby Lennox had stayed there, and whatever happened, must have been my granda, that got the address for me and my brother, my late brother now, Vincent, to go to Bobby Lennox's house. So we chapped the door, and his mammy answered, and she went, hello, hi, can we speak to Bobby, please? And she was lovely, and she went away, and you're talking 1968, it would have been after the European Cup and all that, so it was just like meeting, the biggest. And he came to the door and he shook our hands and, how are you doing, lads? How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And signed an autograph for us. And do you know, I've never seen Bobby since then. I'd love to go up and go, I came to your house. Do you know what I mean? Bobby Lennox. We ran up the road like that. We've got an autograph. We've got an autograph.
And that goes back to I still love football, but I hate football's become. Imagine up to
you wouldn't do that.
Jota's house to say,
the security guys.
It's also the point of seeing the fact that I find that surreal, the fact that you get to meet Celtic players. I mean, your contacts book must be ridiculous now. The number of Q&As that you do. I mean, you hosted Lubo the other night.
That was surreal.
Lubo,
that was surreal.
And stuff like
that. I had Lubo drawing a raffle whilst drinking a pint of Guinness.
Brilliant.
Because it's creative. First one out here, but we did.
Absolutely. He keeps saying, you'll know better than me. And I'm thinking, you've met Bertie.
Bertie says all.
Because Bertie rated him more highly than Henrik.
Did he really? Yeah, there's a quote from Bertie that says, I know Henry was a bit, Lubo for me was the best, but the point about being surreal is the fact that the first time we did Bratback, I was tidying up and somebody says I went for Jim Moore. It was Joe Miller. Right? And you're thinking, Joe Miller? And he gave me a hug. I'm thinking, so
brilliant.
Jim Miller's hugging me.
Yeah.
And he says, if I can help me in any way, give me a shout. And I'm thinking, I was keen to get an ex-player along. Somebody was involved in stopping the 10. But you're struggling with a lot of foreign players. And I thought, Murdo, I said, can you maybe get Murdo? Because Joe's the chair of the Former Players Association, so he's got all their phone numbers. Yeah. And he says, I'll get you Murdo, no bother. So this was like a Thursday night, and I'm at work the next day, because I'm still working, and I'm at work. I gave Joe my number, Joe's number, and I'm sitting chatting to him like this, and the phone goes, I said, it's Joe Miller. I said to the guy, Joe Miller. It's Joe Miller. That's the phone here.
And it's it.
Joe Miller. Joe, hi. I put it on speaker, and he says, hi, mate. He's called me mate. He says, I've got Murdo for Saturday night for you. Murdo. Thanks, Joe, mate. Oh, that's brilliant. Here's his number. Hold on, I'll write it down.
I always loved the story, Matt, that back in the day, probably about 20 years ago, there was this suggestion that there was going to be a Hollywood movie on the origin story of Celtic's formation. Brother Walfred was going to be played by Daniel Day-Lewis, and the whole thing was written by Peter Mullen. It never got off the ground. It was going to be called Paradise. So when I speak to somebody in your game, I always say, right, who would you play in the story of Celtic? Anybody through the history of the club, who would you play?
Oh, I need a writer for that one.
I'll find you one. Hold on.
Well, you think? I'm going to throw this out there. I think Jim Orr plays Gordon Strachan.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, it's a story I just told there that, believe it or not, back in the day, the early 80s, I was Gordon Strachan's double, to the point that I'd been stopped in the street by people. There was the 82 World Cup. Gordon Strachan's playing for Scotland, and I'm at Lewis's in Glasgow buying a birthday present for somebody, and this woman comes up with her kids, is going to sign that. And I said, well, I'm not who you think I am. I'm going to just sign it, it's just for the boy. Look, the person you think I am actually playing the World Cup in Spain. You're all same.
So she walked away and he had to take his leg after the advertising box.
Exactly.
Yeah, still. That was it.
People.
That's who I would be then. Yes.
Jim, you'd be Gordon Strachan.
That's a good job.
Somebody forms, I'd pretend. I'd just play, yeah.
You've got something in mind then. You know.
I know who I'd play.
Who you'd like to play, right?
Just going by any time we're on Acsom, I always get compared to just like yourself. But my comparison is a wee bit better than yours. It's usually females that you.
I do. I am liking to several females.
Didn't KD Lang play?
KD Lang.
KD Lang.
Yes, KD Lang. I think I would have to play Lustig.
All right.
Mika Lustig, aye.
Don't like that.
Patrick and I start to come in now, but only because I want to be the one that steals the Polish hat.
You've got the Lustig about you.
Aye. You know, Lustig. It could be Lustig. I mean, it would be a fleeting scene, but I think I think he became a bit of an icon with us.
Could do that. I'll drive the coal
the
lorry.
dance, you do the dance.
After we won the European Cup, I'll drive the lorry, right? That's what I'll do.
Can you do the dance, that lustig dance he did? In the...
No, I'm not much of a mover.
Practice that.
No choreography in this
Bendy like
place.
lustig. There you go.
Don't know who you would.
Oh, I'm driving the coal lorry. That's what I'm doing.
That's a cop-out.
Hey, that's a big moment in history,
I don't play any player, do you? Well,
You know where I'm going to put you is I'm going to cast you here, right?
Right, okay.
Ange.
What's your call, Clyde?
Ange, there you go.
Meet.
You can do that.
Call.
I'll just do the rest of this. Then.
Listen, Mike. Mike.
I'm going
to do us a favour and phone Pep, your pal, and tell him to leave Kyogo alone.
I leave Kyogo alone.
There's that. That's a good shout. It is, But so's lustig. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I need to ask you this because the first time I ever saw you on the telly and it was like we were talking earlier, it was actually, I think, a triple header on Taggart. And I rewatched it recently, I says to Jim, and it kind of brought home, because all our habits have changed when it comes to watching telly, right? We don't sit there at 7:30 on a given night and watch something anymore. It's all on demand. But see, back in the day, that show was outstanding. I mean, the acting, the plot, the budget was obviously there as well.
Yeah.
But I'm watching it, right? And Matt's dad's played by James Cosmo. Right? and then you told me, I never realised this, there's a wee bit that Tony Curran's in.
The lovely Tony Curran, aye. He was Jardin's younger brother, James McPherson. And I think he got a slap in the face in the scene. He was on the pavement, I remember. And then I thought, he'll come to nothing, but Tony's just... All right, Tony. But it's just amazing, lovely guy, brilliant actor. But he was in that, and that was my first telly job from leaving college. So James Cosmo, Mark McManus.
I've not seen this.
It was 12 million people, 12.5 million people watched it every Tuesday night. I think it was for the 8th episode.
I've not seen.
Yeah, I know.
So you're a baddie?
And I was a rat catcher getting blackmailed to supply rat poison into sauce, pickles and all that in a beetroot factory or something like that. And it was a big suspense cliffhanger with because they put it in baby food, and I was going to be feeding my baby. And that's when James Cosmo came in, and James says to me, "Hey, Matt, young actor, not your first job, but do you want to go for this?" I was like, "Huh, mate."
He was a big guy back then as well, wasn't he?
You're a big man, but I was bombing Govan. So let's do this. All right? Just walks away, feeding the pickle to the way, and just about to give him the poison. He storms in the house, grabs me, slams my head off the door frame, bang, really sore, and then whacks me right in the ear hole. And it went, and I'm like, what the Jesus? And then we were on the couch and we're fine, and Mark McManus comes in and we're really loud, and we would never have heard poor Mark at the time because he just did his thing, and then right, you two, break it up. and we were like, I can't hear that. I can't stop with it. But he was brilliant, Mark. He taught me a few things about acting, wee tiny technical things. But that was my first telly job.
And I bet you're like, I've never done this in my
I know. It's that one when you're acting away and you think, I like to keep it real. If I can't hear you stopping me, I'm no storm. Maybe, right, come on, stop. But it was, right, you two, break it up. And I went, all right, jump on, stop. But I couldn't hear anything for about 2 days because it was... And I thought, right, the next actor that says to me, do you want to just go for it? I said, no, try acting. Just kid on, you're hitting me. Or a wee kind of brush slap. But he was right in my earlog. And plus, when he picked me up against the door frame, it banged my knee off. Just like that. I'm just first telly job and I'm getting battered about here, you know.
But you can fix the door afterwards. I want to watch that. But also the fact you're talking people watch things differently.
Dead giveaway, it was called.
Dead giveaway.
People watch things differently these days. The fact that back then there were only 3 channels. For you young viewers, only 3 channels. So therefore people watch the same things. And videos were just going to start, video recorders were just starting then. So once upon a time, for you kids out there, if you didn't see something, you missed it. That's the finish.
That's right.
And that's why I think that Morecambe and Wise at Christmas time in 1974, if there was, get 30 million people, because if you didn't see it, you don't see it again. You don't get it on demand, you don't get video, whatever.
So see the football attendances, Jim. If you look at the kind of post-war boom people had to go to the game. It wasn't day by day live telly.
Back to why I love football still is that, as you'll know, back in the day when people come back from a game, people want to know what happened. What happened at the game?
Yeah.
And they say, I don't know who scored the goals, because back then there was no PA. Back then, at half time, a guy would wander around the track with letters and numbers. And you had to have the programme. So like A was Aberdeen Kilmarnock, and you stick in A, nothing. Who's that? Aberdeen Kilmarnock.
That's right.
And they wait till like whatever his P, because that's Ibrox. P, if they were playing away, whatever it is, you're waiting for P to come. P's Rangers. P's, I think of some St Johnstone Rangers. P, 0, 2, so that's and then
the scores.
No PA, nobody tell you who scored the goal. It's not like now, number kill, no, you cheer. It's just like somebody scored a goal and the fans cheer, and who scored? Because you're miles away from it.
I'm gutted to miss you hear all the stories about that era and just how different it was, but do you know how spoilt we are? Have I told you this story about when you gave me a Champions League ticket and I went to watch, I'm sure it was Atletico we were playing last season, and I'm not used to watching it, and it's not a dodgy stream, but I'm watching it on a stream that sometimes it lags a bit, but because we've got to pay for all these different channels. But I was at the game watching it, right, and my phone buzzed. I'm watching the live game and I went, oh, have they scored? And I'm like, I'm there watching it live, but I'm not used to watching a stream where the Acsom chat comes up or something. Oh, I've missed
it's
the
like
goal.
kids with iPads, they read a book and they try to expand the picture. Does they look like that?
And that's when you do take somebody to a game who's never been to a game before, want a goal is scored, they'll wait for the replay. So that's it.
Spontaneous reaction. You know?
And I can't see
that.
This is a bugbear of mine, knowing the podcast. I can't see the big screen at Celtic Park. Well, where I am is that I haven't seen it for years. I keep saying on the podcast, and I hope that somebody from Celtic's watching this podcast to say, "Why don't you just put a wee monitor somewhere?" Because before COVID, some of the columns had a monitor on them.
Oh, right, yeah.
But they took them all down during COVID. Never replaced them. So the large parts of the stadium can't see the big screen. So if somebody dies, there's a tribute to Bertiol. I can't.
Tommy Burns, when Tommy Burns had passed away, and one of the screens had broken, and they started playing Tommy singing Mac the Knife.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the thingy, so there was a lot. And I turned around, someone went, "Who the hell was that singing?" And they were like, "Oh, it was Tommy," and I felt like I disrespected Tommy because I was like, "Who the hell was that?" But so the screen was broken that day.
Yeah.
I need to ask you, people from my era, Matt, one of the big things back in the 90s wasn't just the music and Celtic, kind of the rebirth, if you like, of Celtic. There was a movie called Trainspotting that encapsulated all of that, and obviously it brought kind of Robert Carlyle to a wider audience. Anyone who had watched the Cracker episode he was in would have known this guy was the real deal. But you go way back, don't you, in your acting career, you and Robert Carlyle?
Yeah, 1982 I came back for the States and I was back in January, and in March I went up to the Glasgow Arts Centre. Is there any adult drama classes that I can take? Come in. Maggie Grant took me in, and who's in the room but Bobby Carlyle and Blythe Duff and a lot of people. And they said, I would do it every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock to 9:30. I was like, well, what's your experience? I said, I've not done anything, I just want to be, see if I can try this game, you know.
But I know the Waltons, you didn't say that.
I know. It was because of the Waltons that I wanted to be an actor. I'd never thought in my life I would want to be an actor. Nothing like that. And all of a sudden it's in my head that I'm trying to write. I'm trying to write a novel, it was rubbish. Try to write a play, rubbish. And I thought, what's happening here? This has been through working in the studios, a wee bit of creativity coming out, you know, and then I got it, and it was 2 years there, and then I got into the academy, and that was it. But with Bobby, we were in New York for Tommy's wedding, and we were outside in one of the streets, and all we heard was Japanese fans going, it's the full money, you know. It was like, they weren't the American, I don't know what it was, yeah. Japanese, Americans, and I didn't want to do it the other way. I'm saying it.
Do your ability, do accents, Pat?
Yes, I know. Well, I didn't want to do that because that would be looked at very differently if I did anything else. So, and I thought, Bobby, you know, that's it. And he went, I can't believe this, you know, and that was the way it was. But he's another guy who just so down to earth. Same guy now as he was 40 years ago. So honestly, the same guy.
Hamish Macbeth, wasn't it? That made Hamish Macbeth.
That's right.
Is that not always the case? But I know that obviously footballers are ordinary people who live extraordinary lives.
Yeah.
Actors are the same. The ones who up the stratosphere sort of thing. They just ordinary people, but all of a sudden.
Yeah, I find the more famous or the more wealthy they are, the more down to earth. I've spoke to people, no naming names, but you're just like,
name names.
Well, I've worked with Catherine Zeta-Jones, I've worked with, and then here comes the names. But no, like Emma Thompson as well.
Wow.
So,
what did you work with Emma on?
It was a school film. I played her husband in a thing called Tin Fish, directed by Paul Merton, who does the Around Scotland documentaries for the BBC. Because she was brought up in Dunoon, and it was the Tin Fish was the nuclear submarine, and then it was the story of our son getting well because of the submarines, and I was the cold-hearted father, and she was brand new, and then she wins 2 Oscars later on, then Catherine wins an Oscar, something like that.
So hang about with you.
That's it. Hi, you'll get the Oscar.
Well, I was going to ask you, I love Fargo, and I was hooked on Jessie Buckby. And you watch it, she's phenomenal, isn't she?
Yeah, we spent a couple of hours in that prison cell filming that scene, just in between the takes, and she's brilliant. She's really funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know the accent and all that. I thought, she's a brilliant actor and a brilliant singer. You know, that song with Glasgow in the film just brings that.
Is she Scottish?
Irish.
But she's unreal. She plays a part in Fargo season 4, I think.
She the cop? Where's the?
No, she's the one that kills. She's the nurse that kills all the.
Oh yeah!
Spoiler.
But she's another one.
She's
Down to
amazing.
earth, solid earth. Brilliant lassie.
What's it like then when you're on Taggart, and maybe because Blythe was on that for about 20 years, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And looking after Jojo and all this kind of stuff, you work with Robert Carlyle. You must have great fun catching back up with these people.
Aye, it is. Well, Bobby did a film about a barber about, was it 5-6 years ago?
I remember that.
Barney Thompson.
Aye, what's it?
Ray Winston's in it.
Aye.
What? Stevie Todd?
Barney Thompson.
The legend of Barney Thompson. Bobby, I get that in it. You know, I get punched in a veranda in it, you know, and I went, Bobby, what?
Wait, that's really punched you this time, right?
Typecast. Well, I said to him, he's in the bus, we're having lunch, and he got all his Canadian crew, he came out to be the crew of the film, and he went, right guys, I've known you for 10, 15 years. He said, out of everybody in this film, this man here, I've known the longest. I've known him since 1982. And I says, that's why he's giving me the smallest part. And they all, I've got one line in it. I don't even got a line. I've got a kind of, I got whack wheel. No, he always me. But he went, Matt, I didn't even think about you when I was doing the thing. I didn't even think. So, but no, Bobby's a good man. And so Tommy Flanagan as well. I was there seeing him last year in Malibu. He stays there. He's the Sons of Anarchy. He's another good, he likes the Celtic. And he's a lovely man as well. We get great fun with him. We have a pish laugh.
I bet you do.
So he's coming over again soon. Hayley was at the final or something like that. Or was he?
He's got a great face for the screen, isn't he?
He's brilliant. Good guy, another guy. He's done really well for himself. But it's the same Tommy as I knew 25 years ago. Same guy.
Yeah. I love how some of them, they go up to Hollywood and then they become a great advocate for the club.
Yeah.
And then you see them with
Gianni Capaldi's good for that, isn't he?
Yeah. Was it him that had Samuel L. Jackson in?
Yeah, he gets them all in on it. The scarves and the tops and all that. Kiefer Sutherland, I think.
Kiefer, that's right. Aye. See, can I ask you a quick question going back to Still Game here? See in the episode where Stevie does the runner, right? He's away. See when you read that, were you like, oh, that's me out now?
Well, every time he finished, I thought I was, because they were saying, oh, we've got tons of written for you. And then I wasn't in the second series, and I was like, well, that was that. And then, third series. So I think it's 2 and 4 I'm the one. Series 2 and 4.
You know in 4?
No, 2 and no and 4, I think. And but that was a funny day, that was when Paul was coming down the road and I'm running away and I'm trying to reach for the shutter. And it was a BMW, I think, and the guy who brought the cars came up to me and says, look, have you ever driven a BMW before. My pal's got one. I've driven, that's all right, I can drive. He's like, all right, okay. He says, just that first gear's quite close in this one, it's an older one. With the reverse and that, watch yourself, no bother. Action, all that work. There's about 200 people across the pavement in Mary Hill Road, aye.
Right.
It was one, because they've done about 5 different bookies. Oh, other place, Shettleston, the last one.
Did you use real bookies and just change the things?
Real bookies. And the last one was in Govan up at the Southern General, I like to call it. And sorry, I digress. But anyway, so when I pulled the shutter down, I ran in, and there's all these people, remember, and they're all watching. Oh, yeah, Stevie Bookie doing his thing, and I'm like, I'm brilliant in it, watching. And I get in the car, and I fucking go reverse, and it bombed about 4 feet, and there was a van or something. I don't know if you watched the episode. There was something behind me. I don't know what it was. I think it may have been a van. I'm not sure. Honestly, it would have slammed the back of the BMW, who they've supplied for the filming, this company. And then the guy come up to me at the window, he's like, I says, that is close to the first gear, isn't it? Right, okay, he says, no, it's a wee thin, it's a wee wobbly, and I had to get out the car, and Michael Hayes is like, no way, so everybody's like, oh,
Pelter. It's great you get applause for being an arsehole.
That's a hang into. It's a hang.
That's what happened. That scene, I went ready to reverse instead of bombing away.
Amazing.
In the first take. But whereas the Pens scene, and that, me and Paul always take great pleasure in telling people who ask us when we do these shows, we did that in one take.
I was going to ask that. How did you do it? Was it a certain what?
No, it was just really lucky.
You know the scene we're talking about?
I know the timing's perfect.
Oh, it's
and it's just one of these things where you've got 2 cameras going, one Paul, one of me, and we're going to do, right, obviously he knows my lines, I know his lines, and I'm trying to dance to the, I don't know how many there was, I think it was 12, can't remember. And if I get to there and he does that, I've only got, but if I'm not there, I need to go that. The doubler. Oh, the doubler, that's a new one. The doubler. So we got to near there, and I hear Paul winding up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got 4 to go here. And I think that I may have pulled a doubler out there, I'm not sure. And then as I put them in, it went bang, and he went, hiya.
It's perfect.
But then it was silence. And cut, we got it, and I was like, what are you thinking? You know, and they always try to do another one for safety, but it was just nailed in that
so
one take, you know.
Can I ask as well, like,
Such a great idea.
I've always
It's
thought,
funny, the boys are amazing,
some
right?
of these things you think, was that a scripted thing? So did they actually script that? They saw that and scripted, and it wasn't like you're on the set and you saw the thing was there and went, oh, we can use that?
Oh yes, they wrote it, they give it to you very generously, and then you start to dance with that, you know. Right. And I thought, well, I had a lot of different ideas. It's like when I get caught shaving my head, a lot of different ideas, but I picked one, and Michael goes, good, I'm okay with that. Or if he didn't like it, he was saying, can we not do this way? But the shaving the head one and the Pens one was, I was more kind of like that with him all the time, you know, and aggressive towards him, and thinking about I could do it that way and that. Then I thought, and then when we did a wee run through rehearsal, I went like that, and I put my horn, whatever horn it was, I did that, and I thought, oh, that works. That feels like I don't give him about what he's doing. I'm not interested in you, Winston. I want all your money. So this is what I think about you and care about you. So I think I kept it there for most of it. I thought, this works, I'm not leaving it. Instead of being too overacted with the scene, go under it, or totally underplay it. Like the shaving of the head. I could there was one I really wanted to do, where it was a bit slapstick, shaving the head, and then he opens the door. You're out of bog roll. Tam opens the door. You're out of bog roll. Right. See, and I would go, oh Jesus Christ! You know, in the big kind of panto, myself. You know, I went, I don't want to do that. I want to go, I'm serious crime here. I'm stealing him in there. And this is a disguise. It's working. I'm dark. And then looking around, I go, and I just turned me, you had in that lavie all night or something, right? Now, that is the choices that you keep having to make, but the boys present it to you in the writing, which is so good that it's easy. You just need to try and believe what you're saying. If it's honest and you believe it, they'll believe it, and it works. And people keep asking me about that scene. there's something about that scene that it's got into the psyche of the people that are still game fans.
You're so clever.
I'm so lucky to be in that.
Well, do you know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get, eh? But the thing that, where was I going with that? I was going some of the guys, so when Ford and Greg are writing it, I think what they're great at is being unselfish and giving the laughs, and that's why you can relate to all these different characters, because I think they'll go fathers too, by the way. That's why.
They're right, that they're going, I'm going to get over to you. I'd be like, no, I want that, man. I want that. But, you know, they're so generous. They really are. Everybody. I mean, I was only in. I'm not a regular character. I'm a recurring character. And it's because they gave me big generous bits like Jim Watt and boxing, the pens, the shaving, all that. They gave that to me, and it does feel that I'm in it more with people. I'm not in it that much, but I'm a recurring character. So I'm not one of the main five with the 7, and the Magnificent 7, I like to call them, because they're still game. But I'm so lucky that my career path went into Ford and Greg and Michael Hines. You know, I'm really fortunate.
I watched a great short. Check it out. It's on YouTube. Matt, and you are in it with Frankie Boyle. Frankie Boyle is an alcoholic, and you're trying to take his drink off him in the aeroplane to keep him off the bevy, obviously. It's a great shot. Check it out. What was it called again?
Gasping by Greg Hempel.
Yes.
It was
brilliant. There's the link.
And directed.
And there is like a serious tone to that as well, Jerry, because you've spoken really openly on A Celtic State of Mind about your own addiction issues and overcoming them. And some of your experiences obviously have led to this wee show here. Tell us a wee bit about it.
Aye, so it's called Blame It in the Bookie. So the story behind this, Matt, so thanks very much. Going to still from that, right? So it was when I first started writing, I was still drinking at the time, and it wasn't going to be called Blame It on the Bookie. It was called Buckfast the Musical. So I drinking going, I can write a musical. Mate, I've not got a musical bone in my body, right? So when I started to write, I came off the drink and I started to write it. And I started to realise it was something a lot more different. It was actually writing about my journey through the alcohol. And it's basically the whole show, right, it's about 2 guys have been left in charge of Granny's body the night before the funeral. And the mum and the daughter are away to look after the other Granny who's got Alzheimer's. But they return in the morning and it's carnage and the body's missing. And the 2 guys do not remember what they've done with Granny's corpse. So the whole show is about
blame it on the Bookie.
Blame it on the Bookie.
The lovely Lynn McCann.
And the lovely Lynn McCann,
Peggy.
who plays Peggy in Still Game.
Brilliant.
She plays the mum. We've got Dylan Fratty. She's brilliant. She's away in that When We Were Young. She played Billy in Singing I'm Not a Billy. She's a Tim.
All right,
and we've got John Love, who played Billy in the male version. So we've all kind of worked together. I've never worked with Lynn before, but we've brought in Louise McCarthy as the director.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Louise is, for me, and I've said it to everyone, she is the funniest human in Scottish theatre and TV.
She's amazing.
A genius comedy.
Yeah.
She's so self-deprecating. She's like, oh no,
I know.
and she is. She's like, oh shit. But
she just plays it as
I've never laughed, and I've always wanted to work with her on stage. And Dion as well. When I watched Dion, I went, I really want. So I wrote myself into it. Obviously, get your own work, write it in. But Louise has come on. She's taken over the direction.
So Louise is directing this.
She's directing, and she's just come on board. So basically, the whole thing is it's comedy. It's mental. It's mad. But it's using my journey. It's my journey. It's a vessel for my journey, and it's not about, oh, look at me, I'm after drink. It's far from that. It's like, how did this affect my friends and family?
Yeah.
So it's the dad in it he's got his own story. Michelle also is 9 months pregnant, and her water's, but she goes into labour at the start of the show, but she doesn't tell the family. So she's going through this farce, and she's going into labour. My characters woke up still half pissed. And Lynn plays the mum, the long-suffering mum. So it's all set in the flat over one day. And the more I started to write, I realised this isn't a musical, this is a play. And it's got a lot of messages. It focuses on dementia as well, and alcoholism, but all done through, like I say, through a bit of a comedy vibe.
Yeah, well done.
And it's I've been writing for years, but this is the first time I've toured my own work ever. I'd tour with Singing I'm Not a Billy's a Tim that Des Dillon wrote. So I'm kind of myself a wee bit, because it's like, if it's rubbish, then I can't hide behind another writer. But the cast are amazing.
Well done.
Louise is going to do a great job, and we go into rehearsals on Monday So we're nearly selling out a lot of the venues, but we're going to Gracie's for one night only as well. Gracie's Bar, got to take it.
Yes, links under the video. The links under the video.
Ping! There we go. So if you get a chance, tickets are on sale at all the venues.
I love how Acsom brings together all these creative people. I'm going to ask, I know you don't drink, Jim. Have you ever tasted the famous?
No.
You've not?
No.
I was going to ask you to give me one word to describe Buckfast. Jerry?
One word for me to describe Buckfast would be carnage.
Carnage.
Carnage. Good word. Wreck the house juice, isn't it? But the story behind me with Buckfast was when...
Wreck the house juice, I haven't heard that one.
The electric suit. Basically, electric. There's so many different ones. There's one that I can't say on camera, but we do name all the... It's a bit of a celebration as well, because when I was doing the Billy and Tim brand, I thought they sell well because why? Because there's always people in Scotland born either side to support the teams, and they'll constantly happen. And it's a big talking point. So like, what's another big talking point that are iconic? And I was like, it's Buckfast. It goes straight from the football to the alcohol. It's cultural.
Yeah.
And even if you've not drank it, you know someone that drinks it, or someone who's got a story about it. And the title itself is pretty much what's been selling.
It's a great handle.
And obviously having Lynn, Dio and John, it's a great cast. So I'm absolutely buzzing.
Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the boogie.
Blame it on the good time. Blame it on the Bookie.
On the Waltons.
Links underneath
Other
the video.
available.
Yeah. Other tonic wines? Probably not. Jim, give us a wee shout out. Where can we find the tickets?
If
Obviously.
you know the history, starring
And if
Matt Costello.
you know the history.
She can't sing.
Singing like Ange.
Ange.
And if you're not
Ange writes the song now.
Boom, boom.
If you know the history, starring Matt Costello, Jerry Taylor, Alison Orr, Kyle Gardner, Webster's Theatre, 10th to the 12th of October. We're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday night and a Saturday matinee. It's during an international break, so you want your Celtic fix. That's the weekend to go along to Webster's. People tell me it's very funny, do they?
it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's really, really
Almost
fun.
is.
And
Yeah.
as I said, it's about that period in Celtic's history that was quite challenging, but it's comedy. So it tells the story, but it's funny. So you'll be, by then we'll be crying tears now it's tears of laughter, hopefully, within the play. And having such a talented cast, so hopefully they'll make it even better than what it is on paper.
We'll keep it real.
No pressure, man.
Keep it real.
We'll keep it real.
We've got Linda Carter's best pal, so canny food.
Matt Costello, thanks for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.
Thank you very much, guys.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thanks again for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind. What a guest Matt Costello was. Join us again next Friday night at 6 o'clock for This Is A Celtic State of Mind.